Welcome back to Do That But Better. I'm Zach here with my brother Eric. Eric, how you doing today?
I am recovering. I'm catching up on my rest
Yeah,
after a long weekend with Mike
awesome.
Bledsoe and all the things that he planned for people out in Austin this weekend.
Yeah. How was all that?
It was wild. I mean, if
Yeah,
you imagine a high level business seminar with like a wild festival that you go to with like DJs and lights and all the things that come with it. Those were both happening simultaneously the whole time.
the the
So
one
it's pretty
time,
cool.
yeah, like the one time that I was working, like doing some mentorship with Mike Bledsoe, I remember him talking about his superpower was throwing parties, and he is the fun guy.
Yep.
So yeah, that'd be
Yep.
pretty
In
cool
fact,
to see.
the one guy, Danny, he was the head coach. He's leaving. He's going off to do some other stuff. He said if Mike Bledsoe was a drug, he'd be a mushroom because he's a fun guy.
That's a great dad joke.
uh,
Well, yeah, yeah, and especially after you're traveling and things like that, rest is super important.
yep.
And right now we've sort of had a train of talking about the Open, and we're over halfway through the Open, depending on how you look at it. There may be a double workout, like a two-part. You never know, but we are 2 out of 3 weeks done,
Mhm.
and I think that right now it's really good to look at rest. So a 3 week progress where you are maxing out intensity at least once a week and looking to how do I recover? How do I come back better after I really laid it all on the line every Friday?
Yeah. Yeah. So going after you've done both workouts, how are you feeling right now?
So interestingly enough, I feel like I'm not too bad. I was really surprised with 22.2 at how not sore I was. Now, like during the workout, it was tough. And when I was done, my legs were pretty darn shaky. And especially, in the last minute, I tried to up my burpee speed. And you get that
Hmm.
little gut check where you're like, "Oh, I might throw up here," or
Yeah.
something like that, because you are pushing towards max intensity. And actually afterwards, I got a little bit of a headache. I I did have to sit down a little bit. Just my legs were starting to burn. I got a
Hmm.
little bit wobbly, and but the next day I was a little bit sore. My hamstrings, my upper back was a little bit sore, and but outside of that, I wasn't too bad. So I was a little bit impressed by that, and then I started thinking maybe I should have went a little bit harder.
A little too much rest.
A little bit too much rest. Yeah.
So how far did you get, just for the
I
record?
I got you just want to know in case you do it. I got one rep in the sixes on the way back down. I
Okay.
forgot what that number is, but yeah. So I finished all the sevens and I got one deadlift.
Okay. Got a target.
Yep. Yeah. Now here's the interesting thing. In that workout, so Justin Medeiros, I think he finished in 7:54 or something like that. All right. Now, so I finished that last rep at 10 minutes. So I'm 2 minutes longer than him. I didn't get as many reps, so I got 10, 20, about 30 more reps to actually maybe a little bit more to so 2 minutes faster with almost 40 reps more that I would need to do, right?
Hmm.
And I did all the deadlifts unbroken, and I didn't stop in the burpees. So I was able to keep going. The biggest breaks that I would take is at the top of a deadlift, I might take a breath and then touch and go. And then also I might take that breath right before I pick up the deadlift, right? So basically constantly moving for the entire 10 minutes. And he finished 40 more reps 2 minutes faster. And I'm just sitting there thinking, holy crap, how fast are you moving? And it's pretty insane, like starting. And that's one of the things I love about the Open is getting to see those things. And when you get
Yep.
to do it, it's like I would love to hop in a pool with Michael Phelps, not because I really want to race him, but because I want to see what does that actually look like.
Yep. Yeah, you see
And
people posting at the Olympics all the time now. When the Olympics
mhm,
comes around, it's like, can we please put a normal person in the mix just to see like
yeah, all the
where we all
splashing.
compare? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so we were doing a little bit of math, and so getting it done. If you finished at 10 minutes, the 200 reps, you've got to get 10 deadlifts and 10 burpees every minute, right? So that's 20 reps every minute, and he did it in 8. So he's got to be like 12 to 14. I didn't do that math, but he's got to be somewhere in there, 12 to 14 of each every minute.
Hmm.
Holy cow, that is smoking fast.
Yeah.
And really, I didn't even look to see if anybody else had done any better. So
Yeah.
I'd love to see what the top is.
Well, I'm going to make an excuse for everyone just to make you all feel better.
Hmm.
That personally, I think that the jumping off 2 feet standard for the burpees
Hmm.
is very lax in the CrossFit games. I feel like
Okay.
when I see them jump, I'm like, come on, that did not look like 2 feet.
Oh wait, no, but they changed it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you can have you do not need a 2 foot takeoff or a 2 foot landing, but your feet have to be in the air at the same time.
Ah, okay. Okay. So
Yeah,
then, because I just watched like some clips of the announcement. Okay,
right.
that makes more sense then. All
Yeah,
right, fair enough.
yeah.
Because
Now
I feel like it was getting ridiculous where I'm like, their feet are like moving differently. There's no way that this is a standard. So makes sense that they changed it.
yeah, they changed it this year, and actually they said it wrong in the announcement. They said that you still needed a 2 foot landing, but not a 1 foot or but it could be a 1 foot landing. Wait, it had to be a 2 foot takeoff, but the
It could be
rules
one.
said yeah, the rules said different. So it's sort of like a hop skip kind of thing.
Okay, that's good to know. I'm trying to beat your score.
Yeah, but here's the thing. So going back to resting, resting is super important, and I think that most people getting into CrossFit. So number one, people love the intensity. People love to feel like they've done something, and I love that too. I feel like one of the best things about CrossFit was when you got to tell people the amount of work that you did. When you started realizing, hey, our goal is to do more work across broad time and modal domains, right? So you're like, oh, I'm going to do this work and I'm going to do it faster. I'm going to do more work in an AMRAP. And I would go home and tell Natalie, and I'd be like, Natalie, I did 21, 15, and 9 thrusters.
Uh,
That's a squat into a press with 95 pounds and pull-ups, chin over bar, right? And I did it in this way. And she's like, I don't care, you know? And, there was
I
always
was
the
just
running.
as soon as you were saying that, my first thought was, and people love hearing about it.
Yeah. And that was the running joke that in CrossFit, how do you know a CrossFitter? Is because they won't stop talking about it. But so number one, I hope that you do feel really great about the work that you do, and I hope that you want to tell people, because I feel like that really helps with progress. You're like, no, I'm accomplishing something every day. I'm doing a lot of work, but in that same token, we need to rest.
Hmm.
And even in fitness in 100 words, right? It's you're exercising 5 to 6 days a week, so you're getting rest days. You're doing 3 days on um, in the CrossFit methodology. They talk about 3 days on, 1 day off being what they
Hmm.
found most effective. And so 3 days on, 1 day off, we're getting some rest, and this is where the magic happens. If you are beating yourself into the ground or even just working really stinking hard every single day, we don't necessarily get better anymore, and we hit those plateaus. So
Yep.
getting a little bit of rest, that is where our body is going to recharge, just like our phone. Plug it in at night and
Yep.
and be ready for the next day.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think of like a good analogy. I don't know. Maybe it's just a phoenix. that
Yeah,
that like it's got to like break down so that it can get stronger. You can't get stronger by only resting. And you can't get stronger by only working out.
absolutely. Yeah, if you think about the idea that we're going to break down our muscles, or really even just think about like testing our muscles, right?
Yeah,
Testing our
that's what I was
body.
gonna say. You're stimulating them. Of like,
Yes.
hey, here's a stimulus that says, like, this is hard. We want this to be easier. And then your muscle's like, I can make that easier. Let me get stronger.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is where the progress comes. And I feel like so many times people are looking for, how do I do more because what I'm doing hasn't worked yet.
Yep.
And sometimes we have to look to, what is my rest like? And our because rest is recovery, and recovery is where you get better, and the working out is where, like you said, you're stimulating. So
Yep.
it's stimulate and rest. And you can actually see this. So, like, we were sort of talking broad spectrum where, rest days in a week. How many rest days am I taking?
Mm-hmm.
But you can even break that down and now look at 22.2. And we had multiple people who, depending on how heavy the deadlift was for them, right? So if you're sitting in the 50 to 60% range of your max deadlift when you have 225, right? So say that you have a 400-pound deadlift, you're probably in that range. It's not a super heavy deadlift for you, but the volume is really going to start adding up.
Mm-hmm.
You might be able to do those unbroken. So you don't really need rest. If it's creeping up towards that 70% range, now this is a heavy deadlift, and especially for the amount of volume. And maybe instead of trying to do them unbroken, we're gonna start putting it down and taking one quick breath. It gives your body just enough rest to recover, replace your ATP, and now we're able to pick it up again. You didn't get stronger necessarily, but you are recovered. We talk about this with wall balls all the time. People have so much trouble with wall balls. And
Yep.
one of the things that we practice, especially if you can't do, let's say, 20 in a row, all right, then you should probably stop, take a breath, and squat and throw, right? So our wall ball, say that you have a 10 or 14-pound wall ball. Most people can stand up with 10 or 14 pounds. And if you ask them to do it again, they could do it again, and they could probably do it all day. But if I start going up and down nonstop without just like a little bit of a break, all of a sudden I can't do it anymore. And you're like, why can't I squat a 10-pound ball? And it's like, oh, you need to recover a little bit, and and it's literally 1 second,
Yep.
and all of a sudden you're better again.
Yeah. And if you think of it, like connecting that macro to that micro of recovery, like, what are you doing? You're giving your body what it needs, which in that moment is oxygen, so that your body can create more ATP, like you were saying, like create more energy for your muscles to contract.
Right.
You're just giving your body the nourishment it needs right there, which is just a pause and a breath.
Yeah.
And it zooms into there and it zooms out to like your whole body all the time. But I don't know, that seems like a good way to think about it, of like, what does my body need right now? And it's hard to do that in the moment in a workout. It takes a lot of practice. And I feel like if you want to be good at CrossFit, if you want to increase your work capacity, that's where it happens the most, is learning exactly what your body needs. Because you have the two extremes. The people who come in and go full tilt 100% of the time, and it's like, ooh, work, crash and burn.
Mm-hmm.
And you fall apart in the ends of the workouts, your movements look crappy. And then there's the other person who doesn't, like we had talked about a week or two ago, doesn't understand their actual capacity. So they think they're at a 10 and you're really at like a 6. And so you go in and you're taking too much rest. You're not actually getting the stimulus that you want. You're not actually pushing yourself. And so both people are lacking an awareness of what they're capable of doing and what they need, what their body needs to maintain like that highest amount of intensity that can be maintained through the workout.
Yeah. And I like that you said the highest amount of intensity that can be maintained. That that is so important because, like you said, going max or not going at all. One of the biggest misconceptions about CrossFit is the high intensity piece, and I feel like we've even talked about this before, but high intensity has a range, and high intensity starts here, and then there's also max intensity. This is 100%, 110%, where you're falling on the ground dying, and that doesn't have to be all the time. And so now, what can I keep right in here? And actually, even looking at the deadlifts, right? So where I was talking about, at 70%, how many can I do at a time without resting, and then like shortening that rest? Now, if it's 50%, it's probably going to be pretty darn easy, and I need very little rest, and I'm probably not making a ton of progress either. It's great to be moving. If I was going out for a run and I wanted to get faster at my run, but I only ran at 50%, I'm never going to get faster. But if I run at 70, if I run at 80, if I run at 90, I'm working on that speed and I can increase there. But the more work that you are doing, the more rest that you need. And I think that this is a big conception or misconception where people go, I need to do more work, but they didn't think about what do I need to do to recover from that work, because it is stressing out my body. And stress is good. So like you were talking about with stimulation, there's eustress and there's distress. And eustress is something it's testing your body a little bit. It makes your body go, whoa, what's going on here? I need to be ready for this. And then distress is where your body's like, I can't handle this anymore.
Yeah.
And you can really start noticing where you're at. When if you've been working out a lot, if you've got stress at home, if you're not sleeping, if your diet has turned to crap, you start realizing I'm lethargic. I'm really sore. I'm getting angry. Think about a little kid. When when a kid is acting up and it's like, oh my gosh, what's going on? What do? You go, oh, do they need a nap? Have they been eating a lot of candy, right? Or have they been, have we been going to McDonald's?
Have you eaten anything?
Have you eaten anything?
Yeah.
Exactly. And you go, oh, these are the same signs that we see in ourselves. But as adults, we often just go, hey, this is just how it is.
I just need a cup of coffee.
There you go. That fixes everything.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. So what we want to do is regulate that stress. And I think that usually stress is seen as, crazy stuff going on outside of the, outside of you, whether it's work or family or whatever, and being frantic and stuff like that. And those things are stress, but exercise is stress too. And we are intentionally stressing our body so that we can recover. So we have to regulate them all.
And those characteristics you were talking about show up in your workout too. Like, are you coming into your workout and enjoying the challenge, or are you super frustrated and slamming the bar and you're pissed off at yourself because you're not doing what you thought you would be able to? Like, okay, it sounds like you're past that level of eustress and into distress and probably need to rest a little bit. So maybe you slow it down, take the weight down a little bit, right? Or are you feeling awesome and you're loving this workout and you're pumped and you're doing more than you expected? Okay, now it's time to like push it up a little bit. And so
Right.
again, like that awareness of how you're feeling, how your body's responding, and what you're actually doing is going to help you judge what you need in that moment, how much rest you need, or how much intensity you need.
Right. And especially in a time like right now where you are intentionally going more towards max, multiple weeks in a row, we have to start thinking about our rest. So not only how much sleep am I getting, right? What am I eating to recover? Am I eating meat and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, no sugar? Am I keeping intake to levels that support exercise and not body fat?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And if I'm doing those things, I'm going to be feeling better. But what other kinds of things am I doing for that recovery? And am I stretching? Am I taking a little bit of time to just breathe or bring down the stress at home, like or at work? And if I'm not, now I just piled stress on stress. And this is really where not only can you just get burnout, but you can get hurt. Your body is basically deconditioning itself
Mm-hmm.
consistently, and it's like, hey, I need to be okay with walking into the gym to stay consistent because everybody can still move, right?
Right.
But maybe I'm just gonna hop on the bike for a little bit. Maybe I'm going to go through the workout and keep my heart rate low. Maybe nasal breathe, something like that.
Yeah.
But that's okay too, because I think that people think that if I need to rest, it's like I need to lay in the bed and I can't I can't do anything.
Yeah.
I remember Jay Cutler, the bodybuilder. They called him Garfield, and he literally would work out and then he would sit on the couch and his wife would bring him food and even bring him the phone because that's how long ago this was. People had phones on the wall. But and like he would not move. Now that's an extreme example, but because he was doing so much work, he was stressing his body so much, he literally needed to just sit. Now, hopefully nobody is that stressed out, and if you are, you've got more things to worry about than exercise.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
But that I think that's a good distinction between rest and recovery. Like I
mhm,
was saying before, like recovery, just the concept, when you say it, you get a different picture in your mind of giving your body what it needs to improve, right? To
mhm,
get back to like its strongest state, right? Or a stronger state. Where rest, typically we think nothing. I
right,
just lay there, right?
yeah,
And especially, there are days if you have a really stressful whatever going on, coming into the gym, I remember having people come in and it's like this person is broken down, like
mhm,
verge of tears, like something is going on.
mhm,
It's like don't come in and suffer through muscle up drills that you hate. Like what do you want to do?
right,
Go do the thing that you like doing at low intensity so that you feel better walking out of here.
right,
Right? Do the thing that makes you feel great.
yeah.
That's recovery.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes people, especially in CrossFit, because there's a lot of carryover of movements or like redundancy. And people freak out because we squatted 2 days in a row. And it might have been, hey, we did these heavy squats, and then now today we have wall balls in a workout. And people are like, are you supposed to use your legs twice in a row? And so lots of times we can be doing rest while still moving. I mean, there's not a day that you don't use your legs, so you can probably do it. Now, certain things are going to take more time to recover, and you're going to need
Mm-hmm.
more rest from them. And so, yes, doing something like 5 sets of 5 heaviest back squats that you can, you're going to need to not do that multiple days in a row. That's to be beneficial.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that moving is not going to happen anymore. And it's actually
Right.
same thing with there were people that wanted to do 22.2 over, and it's like you just did a ton of deadlifts, and especially again looking at what was the load compared to your max? What kind of percentage
Right.
was this? How many reps did you do? And number one, why? And then is this a good idea? Because especially with something like a heavy deadlift, you got hinging there. Then you're going into the burpee where you've got a bunch of hinging again, and it's just like packed on packed.
Yep.
And you might feel okay, 10, 15, 20 minutes after this workout, but how do you feel the next day? What does it actually do to your central nervous system? So you just central nervous system fatigue, especially if you're going if this is a very high percentage of your max deadlift. And it's like, guess what? You might need multiple days of not doing that, and
Yep.
and that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that workout is a good example where you can think of like if you're doing a heavy sets of deadlifts for strength, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
resting 1 to 2 minutes between sets.
Mm-hmm.
So when you got into those larger sets, like 3, 4, 5 at a time, how long did you have to rest? And how close was it to 1 to 2 minutes? Because
Right.
that means you're doing heavy strength work
Absolutely.
for a ton of reps. You don't need to do that again. It's been
Right.
4 days, 3 days. Like,
Right.
yeah, doesn't make sense.
Right. Yeah. And actually, I was somebody was asking me if I was going to do that over, and I'm like, I don't know if I ever want to do that over.
No, yeah. That's like when they had the deadlifts and box jumps too.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, never again am I doing that workout.
Strangely enough, we just did that the other day. We did that as
Not
a
me.
retest. What's that?
Not me. That's the danger of the open because it's so easy to program for the open,
Mhm.
and especially if you're repeating workouts, but you don't know what's coming up that week. So then it's like, oh
Oh yeah.
crap. Sorry, buddy.
Yep. Yeah. Well, you know what? It's so funny because I feel like people always say, "Oh, I feel like we just did this," right? And I feel like if you are doing CrossFit, if you are keeping it constantly varied, if you're using functional movements, you're going to be going through most of these things, and maybe not the exact, like, so number one, not the reps, not the, it might not even be the full movement, right? But it's like we just did pull-ups and now it's muscle ups, or it's we did front squats, or we did back squats and we did front squats, and then there's thrusters. It's like you're gonna push, you're gonna pull, you're gonna hinge, you're gonna
Right.
it's like, yeah,
There's
we
only
did that.
so
Of
many
course we
movement
did that.
patterns.
Right. And so I hope that we do pretty much everything. That is the
Yeah.
purpose of a GPP, or general physical preparedness, um, workout program, is to be prepared for everything. And so if they throw something at us, we should either go, I've got that, or I can apply what I've just done to this thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, all right, we've got our rest, right? So super important. This is how we're going to make progress. Making sure that whether we're taking full rest days, whether we're taking it a little bit easy, or even in a workout, it's how much rest do I need, or what is my intensity so that I don't need to rest, right? And
Yeah.
so, hitting that 70% instead of 85, where, oh man, I could only hold that for 2 minutes and I've got this 10-minute workout. And not only are you going to be getting better tomorrow, but you're going to be getting better in your workouts. You're going to be doing more work more consistently. I was actually, one of our members was wearing a heart monitor today, and they were talking about, so there's the different zones,
Mhm.
and we were talking about that high intensity idea, and you might get into that 70% range, and you can go, right? And it's like, oh, I could do this for a long time. I like to think of Cindy with that, that 5, 10,
Yeah.
15 pull-ups, push-ups, squats, and you can get into like a really sweet rhythm where you're going hard, especially if you do it like Chelsea, where it's on the
Right.
minute. If you're pretty good at all of those movements, you can do that, and you're going to be breathing hard the whole time, but you can probably keep it for a long time. As soon as you
Yeah.
go into a Cindy style where you're like, no, I want to get more than 20 rounds, I now it's like, all
You
right,
mean
now
30 rounds?
I'm more than 30 rounds. Yes. Now all of a sudden you are you're upping that intensity a little bit, and you're going to be pushing. Where do I need to stop and rest, or do I have to?
Yeah. Yeah. Where things start to break down, usually the push-ups.
Usually the
Like, what
push-ups.
can you maintain?
Yeah. When's the last time you've done Cindy? Anytime
Like
recent?
the full Cindy, it's been a while.
Yeah.
I've used it, 5, 10, 15
Yeah.
recently, but not like the full 20 minutes go for max reps or
Yeah.
rounds.
Yeah.
I have to look though on my max. I think I've gotten, I feel like I got like 28 rounds once
Ooh,
and ripped
man.
my hands really badly with some time left.
Dang.
I was get 30. I have to look back though.
That's really good.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. I feel like my best is like at around 26 or so. Yeah.
Especially because you always do Murph, and so you're used to doing that with a weight vest, and when you do it without a vest, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fun one to not only to do, but also doing it in pieces like you were talking about. And we will throw that into workouts every now and then. It's like a couple runs of Cindy and then something,
Yeah.
which great way. And I'll tell you what, one of the best like hotel workouts,
Oh
because
yeah.
you can probably find something to do a pull-up bar or to do a pull-up on, and
Yep.
just get some work in. But yeah, so anyways, breaking it down, not only is getting your rest in great for work capacity, being able to like work rest, and so you can do more work, especially at a high volume. But
Mm-hmm.
this is going to lead to progress in like in the long run. So this is going to lead to supercompensation. So your body, when you break it down, it goes, holy crap, I need to prepare for that later. And then you rest. It's like plug it in your phone, it recharges, and now we're supercompensating. We're a little bit stronger. We're a little bit faster. We have a little bit more endurance. But this is also going to allow us to stay healthy and avoid injuries, right? Because we are not constantly in a deficit, and we're relieving the stress, I guess
Yep.
we could say. And
Yeah.
it's super important, no matter how you feel about wanting to work hard. The rest is going to be the thing that pushes you forward as you're moving.
Yep. Yeah. You want to create those right adaptations. So like we said, with straight up heavy strength work, you take those longer breaks. If it's speed work, no breaks. And so you got to recognize what you're trying to do and use the correct application of rest in
Yeah,
that workout.
there you go. Shoot, and actually, now that I just thought of this, and we'll leave with this, but vacation, right? How great do you feel when you come back from vacation? You feel like you can smash everything, and
Yeah.
because you just let it all go, and
Mm-hmm.
now you're like, all right, I'm back and I'm ready.
Yep.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Get some rest. Make sure you guys are resting well, and we will see you guys next week for Do That But Better. See you later, Eric.
Yeah.